introduce Ms. Ann Reck. In 1976, Joanne began at Santa Ynez High School as the head girls basketball coach, where she spent 31 years. Her overall record was 579 and 177. This ranks 10th in the state of California girls basketball history. She won 3 CIF 7th section championships, 6 7th section runner-ups. She played in 9 consecutive CIF championship finals from 1989 to 1997. Won 18 league championships and had 23 consecutive CIF playoff appearances from 1985 to 2007. In 2009, Joanne was inducted into the Southern California Interscholastic Basketball Coaches Association Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, CIF Hall of Fame inductee, Ms. Ann Reck.
Team sports for females, when I was growing up in the 50s, was pretty scarce. I was fortunate to grow up the middle child of a very athletic family of 6 kids, whose parents raised the 4 boys and the 2 girls equally, even when it came to sports. Since my dad had been a backup catcher for the Chicago Cubs in the '45 World Series, he made sure his daughter knew how to catch when the first Bobby Sox team, first girls softball tournament ever in California in 1961. So since not many other girls knew how to catch, I became the first catcher on the first state champion Bobby Sox team that year. My mom, years later, became the first female coach of a Bobby Sox team. And my dad scouted for the Boston Red Sox for 50 years, and I spent most of my childhood, it seems, certainly about every weekend, sitting in the stands with him and all the scouts, just absorbing the love of sports, the philosophy, the arguing over whether we looked at the stopwatch or could tell off the top of your head how fast somebody ran to first base, how fast the pitcher pitched, and it developed a real love of the knowledge and everything that was involved in doing a sport well. My whole family, the 5 kids and my mom and dad, all flew to Boston in 1967 to watch my oldest brother, Jerry Stevenson, pitch in the '67 World Series. And Jerry's daughter, Shannon, is here, and her husband, Pete Smaldino, who played baseball at USC. So you can see there pretty much has to be some sports going on to be in our family. So the 50s, the 60s for sports, I was really excited to get into junior high and start to play sports. So I went out for basketball, and they had 6 girls on a team with only 2 being able to go full court, and only 3 dribbles. So I said, why? The boys don't play like that, why can't the girls? And they told me, 1, it would hurt girls' reproductive systems. And 2, just like girls talking, once they could dribble all they wanted, they wouldn't know when to stop. So I knew I had a long road ahead of me if I wanted to do something in sports. High school and in college, at UCSB, we still played 6 on the team, but they did allow us to dribble. Title IX passed when I graduated from college. So when I played, there were no scholarships, no buses, no flights, no paid for meals, no shoes, no uniforms washed for you. When UCSB would play USC and UCLA, we'd drive school vans, the team would stay at my parents' house, and my mom would cook everyone breakfast. We played at gyms in those schools that were in buildings where we played upstairs, and folding chairs were set out between the court and the wall. So I still had a long way to go. When I interviewed in 1976 at San Ynez High School for a position as an English teacher slash softball coach slash basketball coach, I was asked if I could teach the girls how to throw like guys. Since I said yes, my assignment was 6 freshman English classes, JV and varsity basketball, JV and varsity softball, no assistant coaches, no JV coaches, 1 salary for each of the varsity positions, none for the JVs, because they just assumed I would practice the girls together. I knew if I was going to develop any type of program, I had to coach them separately. So, especially after doing that for 1 year. So I recruited my sister, who's here, Mary Lou, and she helped out and helped get it started because there was just nobody else who wanted to coach girls, who knew what they were doing. And so she really helped me get through, and she's here with her husband, Robert. So it was a rough go. In softball, which I coached for 10 years, while I was coaching basketball, we didn't win a game my first 2 years. My 9th and 10th year, we won league. In basketball, we didn't win more games than we lost until my 4th year. My first year, we were losing games 90-17, and that still hurts, but it was just a motivator. I put the blinders on and went to work. I spent 30 years with 4 a.m. Mornings, filling in my detailed 5x7 index cards for each practice, each minute of the practice. When we started, we had the girls had to practice either before school or after the boys were done after school. Title IX was just too recent. Things hadn't taken effect at that time. We had rubber basketballs. We had polyester uniforms. The polyester at that time did not absorb sweat. We had the ugliest orange color you ever could imagine for our uniforms. We only had 1 set, so the other schools had to rotate according to us because we weren't really decked out. And of course, we had no weight room time. That wasn't even considered as a possibility. I was hitting the library to check out books for drills since I'd only played with 6-person teams. I was greatly helped by driving as often as I could from San Ynez to Cal Poly Pomona, where the late, great Darlene May coached, and my sister Mary Lou was on her team. And I watched their practices, I took notes. My sister mimeographed some of their plays, some of their drills, their conditioning program, and I immediately started implementing them at the high school. And so, but I got my glimpse of what running a great program for girls could be. It was the worst of times, but also the best, as one of my favorite writers and books to teach, Tale of Two Cities. My daughter played for me my final 4 years. I had children very late in life. Being captain and first team all-league, playing next at Claremont McKenna College. Growing up, my son kept stats for my games and was tortured by the 15 older sisters he inherited every year. He went on to run track at Harvard, even though, or maybe because of, spending his childhood running away from the girls who wanted to dress him up and comb his hair in different dues. To teach high school English full-time, raise 2 kids and a husband. All the rest of you raved about your spouses. Living a half-hour drive from the school, coaching year-round, it sounds like I'm going to say I walked uphill both ways to school. Always a full summer team schedule, team camps we put on for elementary girls, and the most fun, playing in the Lake Tahoe tournament every July. with the team staying in one large house for a week, with the girls having to clean and cook, and most trying of all, sharing bathrooms with 15 girls. All of this was the best of times. I share the honor with my family, which I think obviously without them I wouldn't have got a start, because like, as I said, nothing was really going on for girls in the 50s. But also people at my table who are representative of the support I've had over the years. Mark Swanitz, whose father was the principal of San Ynez, he is now. His sister played basketball for me and was a first team all-leaguer. He played basketball for my husband and was in my husband's English class. Chris Avery, our athletic director now, our family took his son to South Africa with us for a trip that we went on. But this is just an indication of how interrelated everything is in the Santa Ynez Valley. You have to be careful of everything you say at all times. My neighbor Kenna, who drove me here today and bailed me out several times when I just had too much going on, was so dependable and so helpful of all of that. And players such as Jennifer Rasmussen, the center on our state finalist team, my JV coach for 14 years, and still head tennis coach at our high school, very successful, with 3 young kids while teaching full-time. She exemplifies what I hope would happen with the females when they got a chance to excel in sports. They are now lawyers, firemen, policemen, teachers, doctors, and great moms who coach their kids' teams. Thank you to the CIF for this honor. It was a fast 30 years with young females that I watched become strong women, able to hold their own, just as they learned as a team on and off the court. Who could ask for more? It was the best of times. Thank you.